Hi, I'm Kenneth Scally from WestTech, and you are listening to the Social Media Talks podcast with Alan Hennessy from CompassMedia.ie.
Before we begin this episode, we'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsors and also our supporters. The Social Media Talks podcast is sponsored by ContentCal. For more information, visit their website at contentcal.io. We would also like to remind you the Social Media Talks podcast is proudly supported by charityradio.ie. And now, this week's episode.
Welcome to Social Media Talks podcasts, brought to you by CompassMedia.ie.
Hello and thank you for joining me. This is the Social Media Talks podcast, brought to you by CompassMedia.ie, episode number 85. I'm your host, Alan Hennessy, and this is the podcast to help business owners who want to learn more about social and digital marketing. And if you'd like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, you can log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/podcasts. You can also join our Facebook group by logging on to facebook.com/groups/social media talks. And we're looking forward to today's show. Today I'm going to be joined by Kenneth Scally from WestTech Technologies. And Kenneth is the Managing Director with over 15 years of experience in the tech industry. And Kenneth believes in integrating technologies with clients' requirements effectively and coming up with innovative time and cost schedules that can help business development and maintain a higher level of sales and customer service with enhanced features of a CRM system. This also fast-tracks businesses' results for clients using technology innovation that sustains long-term growth. And today we're going to be talking to Kenneth all about the benefits of having a CRM system. So interested to listen and find out more about this as well. So without further ado, I think we will transition straight over to the interview with Kenneth. Hi Kenneth, how are you today? Thanks for joining us on the Social Media Talks podcast. It's a pleasure to have your company. How are you getting on today?
I'm good, thanks Alan. Thanks for having me today.
Brilliant stuff. And of course today we're going to be talking all about CRM systems, and I suppose there's a lot of confusion about this and people sort of don't understand what a CRM system is. So hopefully by the end of this podcast you'll have learned so much more, and of course we have an expert on the show as well today to talk all about that. So I suppose, Kenneth, before we start out today, maybe you'd like to give the listeners a brief background about yourself before we get stuck into our chosen topic.
So my name is Kenneth Scally. I'm the Managing Director of a company called WestTech Technologies. My background is I have well over 10 years IT experience. I'm a local Dublin guy, basically decided to move on one day and start my own company because I felt that the SMBs in Ireland and Dublin especially were not getting looked after from an IT perspective. My background does include a couple of Fortune 500 companies where we did deal with large commercial and enterprise businesses. But from an Irish perspective, I really did feel there was a gap in the market here, and that's why I decided to open up my company, WestTech.
Brilliant stuff.
So, thank you very much for having me. And I look forward to this conversation.
Brilliant stuff. And yes, indeed. So, as I said, we're going to be talking all about CRM systems. And I suppose, there's a huge amount of information out there, of course, online about CRM systems. But I know for, a small and medium-sized business that are starting out, or they're in the process of scaling up or so on and so forth, that looking for this information can be a minefield because there's so many different, avenues they can go down. So I suppose, first off, I think the easiest question is what is a CRM system?
Yeah, so like a CRM system, well, CRM stands for Customer or Client Relationship Management. And basically what it is, it's a platform that allows you to hold all of your customer details and be able to basically build that relationship with your customer through the platform, So it starts with that, It could start with actually contact details of a customer, emails belonging to a customer, and then it can grow out, and you can build out these platforms basically significantly where they can actually go and you can book appointment systems, you can invoicing systems, you can go into social media. So there is a lot of areas that we can cover from a CRM system or from a customer perspective. But To answer your question is basically it's a platform that allows a company or an organization to hold all of the customer information on one platform. So you could call it a database in a way.
And I think that's very important because, you know, like I know for many small businesses and medium-sized businesses that are working on a daily basis and they have a number of customers that they're jumping from Excel spreadsheets to social media to email to, so I think it's having it all in the one place. I suppose it's like a one-stop shop and being able to control everything from within one particular program. I think that is, it has to be a fantastic opportunity for them to, develop what it is the CRM system can give them, but also as well, it's time efficient. And I think that's a key point for any business.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing as well is that, like, they say that like 27%, you have a 27% chance of customers staying with your business if you have a CRM system in-house. Now, what I gathered from that was the fact that, like, let's say, for instance, like most businesses out there are selling, okay? So if you're selling and you're trying to sell to an individual or you're even trying to sell to existing customers, having some sort of a system in place where you can easily go in, you can see what products they have already, when they're renewing, even if you can actually generate more leads from your existing customers with the CRM system, But like all in all, like it's giving you the ability to track and have a full glass window of basically what's going on in your organization, who your customers are, who are the individuals selling to your customers, and even then what kind of deals are closing, what kind of revenue you're generating for the business. And then even from a micromanagement perspective, if you have like a sales team or a sales individual, it gives them full control over what's going on for their, let's say, their territory of their sales. If they're in, like, let's say, a certain territory, they can actually see what accounts they're looking after, what kind of pipeline they have, what kind of leads they have, when they have to contact the customer, and basically how much revenue they're bringing in for the business. So, like, that gives you a lot of information on one platform. And most of these platforms are sitting on the cloud. So you no longer need to basically have something downloaded and keep it on your local devices where you have to back it up and stuff like that. You can keep this platform in the cloud. You pay a subscription to a particular vendor, and you've actually full control, and you can actually know exactly how much it's going to cost you for the whole year,
Which I think is really, really good, because I think at the end of the day we're always looking at budgets and stuff like that, and I love the idea of being able to track and measure and stuff like that, because that is key important. And there's so many opportunities where you will see businesses, and I know I've seen it in the past. I've worked with many of them that will say, oh yeah, well, like we had 5 or 6 leads of that, but we've got to follow up, and it's probably too late now to do that. So I suppose a CRM system gives you that opportunity where it gives you, I suppose, notifications and stuff like that to be able to, prompts more so than anything, to be able to just keep on top of all that as well. So I think that has to be a definite added bonus to any type of business.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, not only that, it gives it from a user perspective or from an employee perspective, it gives you a little bit more control over what's going on your daily basis. So, like, when you come in, obviously we have our email calendars and stuff like that. But like, most of these CRM systems are linked to the likes of Microsoft Outlook, let's say, where your calendar is going to be linked to the system. They will automatically put, so let's say you have to follow up call with some guy, that will automatically be in your calendar. When you make the call, or even if you send an email, this will automatically be redirected into the system. So for let's say at the end of quarter or even the end of the week, you can say, okay, well, look, I've actually made 10 calls, I've made like say 10 emails, and they're all related to this specific customer. So not only that, it gives an overall picture of what's going on with a specific opportunity within the company. And from a higher level perspective, they actually have control over, or they have visibility over what the individual's doing within the company. Now, just like that's from a sales perspective, and that's basically when we go back even, let's say 5-10 years ago, where CRM systems were only really coming into the workplace. This is the kind of area that the key area that we were covering. Now, if you look at it like it's 2020, it's 10 years later, these systems have actually broadened so much. They've actually went in and they're designed in such a way where you have your post sales, you have your customer service team, you have your support teams, where these are able to go in and actually key in a customer name, and from putting into this database the customer name, they can see exactly what they bought, when they bought it, who the account manager is, how much they've spent, and all this kind of information, if they had previous support cases open, and stuff like that, So, but what I'm trying to do is the picture that it paints from an organization perspective, or even from a customer perspective, it gives you the ability to be able to, let's say, for instance, if someone called a company today and they're looking for support, they have a support issue, at least the individual that's dealing with the support issue, if they've only joined the company, they can pull up the history and say, we see you called back in 2019. We know what product you have. We know what your account manager, and even give the customer a little bit of ease, where instead of you're not flapping about trying to find out exactly what's going on, you have it all on the one system.
Yeah, and I think that's very good. And it reminded me of, I had a problem with one of the Macs here in the office, and basically we rang, say, Apple support, and basically we were on to them, we told them what the story was, and like that they were saying, oh, hold on, yeah, you had this issue 3 months ago. And we were saying, yeah. So it was great for us as a customer as well, because they understood exactly what the last issue was, which was similar to the one that we were having at the time. And they were able to, very quickly understand, well, this is the reason why this was happening the last time. And there's all that follow up as well. So it's having, I suppose, the history as well on that system and on that CRM, that gives you the ability to be able to be a lot more confident with your customers as well. And then, this, as you say, you can build it into your email system and stuff like that. So, and I think that's, vitally important. I know we use a particular one, and I found it invaluable, because I find that there could be 2 or 3 people who are working on the same with the client, but are working in different areas, but we were able to support and we were able to add into that. And I think that's great, because it means then that everyone knows exactly what's going on with the customer, knows where we are on the journey with them. And, I think that is invaluable information for any company, because it also gives, on the other side of the company's perspective, a lot more professionalism as well,
Absolutely. Like, you hit the nail on the head there as well. Like, the thing as well is, like, if you look at it, if you had an organization without a system like this, you would have to bring in multiple platforms. You'd probably bring in Microsoft Access. You'd probably be running with Microsoft Excel. You'd probably be running some other Microsoft platforms, let's say. And as you said earlier, you'd be going in between the two of them. But I think as well, like, with these kind of systems that are in place, is the technology that's out there now, the user friendliness is second to none. It's just so easy to be able to click on a button. Okay, I made a call to Mr. Smith there. What was the call about? Oh, it was a support call. This was his issue. Whatever have you. And like, even now, if you notice when you're, let's say, for instance, you're speaking to your mobile telephone provider, after speaking to the telephone provider, you get a text message probably about 5 minutes later to say, how satisfied were you today with the customer service? And all this information gets put back into the same system, the CRM system, where they have these details to be able to say, okay, well, look, at that individual looked after the call. They were dissatisfied with the service. And then it gives the organization the ability to go and speak to the individual and say, okay, well, look, how did the call go? Where can we address it? And for the future, how can we make sure that this will not happen again for any other customer? So it's all integrated into one platform where it's covering many aspects of the business, from your pre-sales to your post-sales, all the way up to your support and even to your renewal of a customer. Yeah. As such, where I got a call there the other day, again, from a mobile phone provider, and they were able to tell me exactly how much minutes I've used, and they were able to tell me exactly how many calls I've made, and they were like, okay, well, we feel from what you're using, this isn't the correct package for you to be on. You'll be more beneficial moving on to this package where it's going to work out cheaper and you're going to get more functionality from it. I'm like, wow, how did they do that? Obviously through a CRM system where they're tracking all your stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's invaluable. That's invaluable because it also puts, as I said, it puts the the supplier in a great light with the customer, and then of course, as we know ourselves, word of mouth, and people buy from people. They respect companies that will actually help them out and do it in their best interest. I know there's obviously a certain amount of interest for the company to be able to make more money and whatever, but at the same token, I think customer service, and we live now in an age where that is key to any business, and it really is. It's key, and it's keeping your finger on the pulse and being able to, highlight these, whether it be your new mobile phone packages or whatever it may be. But it gives that air of confidence that you know that you're going to be looked after. So I suppose the next question that I would sort of ask is if we were going, and I know there's a lot of businesses out there that will be looking at CRM systems and upscaling their business, obviously, and then, making their systems more efficient and stuff like that. So I suppose, where do we start when it comes to, a CRM system? Do we get in contact with yourself? Obviously, that's one sure thing. But I suppose, where should we start, and what should we be looking at first before we even contact you?
It's a very good question. The key thing will be for any business, and just one thing I want to highlight as well before we go into where we should start is, a lot of people seem to think that these CRM systems are tailored for large enterprise businesses. They're not. They're actually tailored for small businesses. And if you went onto Google now, you'd be able to do free trials of all of them, where you can say, okay, well, I will find out which one is going to work specifically for my business needs. But let's say, for instance, if a customer came to me tomorrow and said, okay, well, we are looking for a CRM system. I say, okay, well, there's more than a dozen out there. There's lots of them out there. There's free ones, there's paid ones, there's all that integrate with social media, integrate with apps. And again, we'd have to sit the customer down and really, really ask them what their business is and what they want to get from it. Where do they want to go? And the key thing will be is, obviously we'd have to bring the sales side of it. But I think the sales side is the key foundation. But if you look at it like this, we can bring in, let's say we have a gym. Okay, so a gym basically works off, let's say, classes being filled. Personal trainers, classes being filled. We could put in an appointment system into a gym, right? Where a user can go online. Let's say a user can go onto the gym's website. They can fill in their details. Oh, hello, I'm John Smith. I want to take a class at 7:30. Here's my details. You can pay over the phone or over the website. You can put in your card details. From that, then, if you wanted, you can basically add your details. They'll go to the CRM system. Then John will go to the class. He's at the class. Then the class will probably be on a Tuesday. He could get a phone call back on, let's say, the week after and go, how you doing? How you doing, John? You attended the class on Tuesday. How was the class? Was it good? Did you enjoy it? Would you be thinking about coming back? Would you like a year membership? And so on. But what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't have to be a large enterprise selling business. It can be a small business where you can take the appointment, take the details, it'll go into the CRM system, and then basically you can generate leads from it. There's other ways we can do it as well. We have specific CRM systems out there that will actually trawl through the likes of Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and will take people's feeds and stuff like that, and actually they can click on a button. Oh, do you like this or whatever? They click on a button and it will grab their details and put it into the CRM system. They'll get a call back probably a few days later from an account manager. How you doing? We got your details from Facebook or from Instagram. You opted into a post or whatever. And there you go. So there's multiple different ways that they can be used nowadays. And to be honest, the technology is evolving so fast. It's getting better for both the vendor and for the customer.
And I think that's very important as well. Like I know we use one, and what I do is I would go on and say, for instance, I'm looking for guests for the podcast here. And if I'm looking for guests for the podcast, what I may sometimes do is I go on to say the types of, say, Twitter or something like that, or the Social Media Examiner, or wherever it may be, Forbes magazines or something like that, and I have a look, and I might see an article, especially on Forbes, of, say, the 20 best digital marketers in the world type of thing, and their predictions. And I'll go on and I'll see the person. 9 times out of 10, when you see articles like this, it gives their sort of their details. It'll say, it's Kenneth Scally from blah, 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 wherever it may be. And then what I do is I actually right click, and I'm able to set up an actual profile for them in the CRM system. So it gives me that flexibility that I can actually put in notes and tasks and stuff like that to get in contact with them. So it's very valuable in that respect. And I've found it to be a huge bonus to be able to use this. And I think it's really, really, it's good, because what it does is it gives me all the details. Then it gives me a call to action to whether it's to be called them or task or whatever it may be. And then in turn, I also now have them on my CRM system. So I can call back on them and say, okay, well, who are the top 10 social media or digital experts in the world? And they'll appear in that list. So I can then, I can use it for other aspects of the business, whether that be sending out a flyer or sending an email to them, whatever it may be, whatever option I use. And I think that's invaluable. And I see that working with so many businesses, and I see so many businesses not capitalizing on this, because I think that is so important, especially if you're running a business and you're looking for, whether it be influencers or whether it be, just new customers or new clients that have shown an interest in what you actually sell. I think that is invaluable to be able to gather that information and have it in one particular CRM system.
Yeah, and that's exactly that's 100%. And if we go back to the CRM, the client relationship management, and it's that relationship word that it's given us control over. It's given us the ability to build those relationships, or build a relationship with a potential lead or a potential client. One there is that we'd have one there where let's say, for instance, we have a list of clients, we have a list of products they're using. We're able to see exactly what they need by having the list of products that they're already using. So let's say they're using a certain set of products. The CRM system will actually be able to say, okay, well, look, there could be a lead here for this product because we went and seen exactly what products they're using, or it's in the database what products they're using. So the intelligence behind some of these systems is really, really good. It's really, really powerful. From a marketing perspective as well, and that's one thing that we should highlight as well, is that from a business perspective, having these tools in-house and the ability to be able to go and market your product out to the social media platforms with these products is really, really powerful. You can actually send out news feeds or scheduled posts where if a user does not even like a post, but click the link on the post, you automatically get those details, and it comes into your system, and then you can follow up with them and say, okay, well, look, you clicked on the post. Are you interested? It's a lot easier, I think, as well, given that the amount of activity we do have on the multiple social media platforms that is out there. So from a marketing perspective, I think it's really, really good to have one of these systems in-house, because it will generate leads for you. And it will get customers talking about your product as well.
And I think it's important to highlight that, because I think, for so many years we were doing cold calls and we were saying, oh, would you be interested in this? Whereas now we have the ability to actually know that this person is interested because they've either clicked on a link or they've clicked on a post, or they've mentioned it in, and I'm sure you can set up alerts and stuff like that if someone mentions it. I know there's hundreds of systems out there for alerts and stuff like that, but I'm sure you can integrate that into a system as well where you can do that. So I think, having that warm lead is vitally important, and it also gives you the opportunity then to speak to new customers, or existing customers, or even people that could be potentially could buy from you. Like, we've had it many a time where we've talked to customers about one thing and it leads on to another. So, you know, there's huge opportunities here. So what is involved in sort of setting up one of these systems? Do we get in contact with yourself? And maybe you could give us a little bit more information about that.
Yeah, so like, to be honest, setting up is really, really easy. You know, it doesn't come easier. You know, the majority of these platforms are in the cloud, so like they're fairly handy to set up. Now, once we do have them set up, the hard part would be basically administrating them, getting the users, getting the profiles built, building out different responsibilities for different users in the organization, giving different permissions and stuff like that. But from an installation perspective, it's just a click of a button. You know, it's really, really easy to be done. To be honest, like I would, like, if anyone does want to come and contact me, by all means, I will help them. I might be even help them, like, advise them on what kind of system to use for their specific business. Now, I don't want to go into any names or details now, but like, there is multiple different vendors out there. And if you do look closely, the different vendors do basically acquire for different specific needs of the business, you know, because like and most of them do have all these different apps you can build out and different add-ons and stuff like that. But from a setting up perspective, it's kid stuff now. It's really, really easy to do.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah, and I just think it's it's an invaluable piece of kit to have in your arsenal for your marketing, for your business, and I suppose for every aspect of your business. It's so insightful that you're able to use this. And I suppose as well, it also gives you a lot more confidence that you can understand where your leads are coming from, where your customers are, what they need, how you can help them, how you can, how they can get in contact with you. So it's right across the whole spectrum of a business using this type of systems. And as you say, it's all now stored in the cloud. So it's not big bulky machines like where we used to have servers in the back offices and stuff like that. It'd be all done, through a simple desktop computer that's sent up into the cloud, and your information saved there as well. So there's so many advantages of using a CRM system. I just think it's fantastic, and like, I know our business here, like in Compass Media, we definitely would be lost now without one of these.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing as well. Like, it's the key thing that we have to highlight here about having one of these systems is the visibility, where you're actually going to get full visibility over the whole organization on what's going on in the organization. And second is basically, if we look at it, the way any business operates well is communication. And once we have this bit of visibility, we can see what communication is going on between the customer and their employees, or even end users, and even within the business. So once you have that visibility and you can see what communication is going on, like that's fine. It's going to make any business run smoothly, because you take it from start to finish. Like some of these systems, like you can even send out invoices with them and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And you can come up with your invoices being paid, and you know what I mean. So like, it really does give you an end-to-end functionality. And as you said there as well, like you did highlight, like, there is no more of these physical machines. Like, you just pay your per user per month subscription where you can log in anywhere, and the functionality is really, really good.
And I think that's a key. That's another important factor is that you don't have to be sitting at the same computer. You can be literally anywhere. You can be out and about, and you can switch it on and have it on whatever machine you want. So like, that's another, and yet again, there's so many opportunities here. I think it's just fantastic, and I really do. I would tell people and would say to people, if you are interested in finding out more about this, definitely Kenneth is the man to talk to. He will advise you, and he'll also give you a lot more direction and point you, I suppose, in the right direction as well. You can find out more information on his website at WestTech.ie as well, and we'll also put that in the show notes, and all the other information that we've talked about here on the podcast as well today. So you don't have to go scrambling for a pen to try and write all this down. You can just go in and have a look at the show notes, and they'll be available with this episode when it is up on our website as well. Kenneth, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I always ask my guests at the end of every show one particular question, and it's not related to the podcast. And the question that I would ask you is if you had the chance to invite someone to dinner, whether it be past or present, who would it be and why?
Okay, so I've been thinking about this question for the whole show, and it's a bit of a hard one. But right now, if I had an opportunity to invite someone for dinner, I'd have to invite Dan Locke. I don't know whether you're familiar with Dan Locke or not, but I've been reading a lot of his stuff. I've been watching a lot of his videos over the past few months, and he's fairly inspirational in what he does. And the reason why I think he's so inspiring is because he's an Asian guy. He's from Hong Kong, and he went to Canada when he was 14 years of age. He didn't have a penny in his pocket, and he's turned himself into like a self-made millionaire, you could say, But the thing I like about him so much is that like he's inspiring to me is his confidence and the way he speaks to customers and closes deals and he released a video every day on YouTube. Now this guy, he's always coming up with different ways to speak to different customers and how to close deals and what kind of customers are good to go to, what are bad customers and all. But like, yeah, but we could sit him down for dinner. I'll be talking to him all night, But yeah, right now he'd be the guy that I'd invite.
Brilliant stuff. Yes, I have heard of him, and yes, I have watched a few of his videos, and very, very interesting person as well. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
Kenneth, how can people get in contact with you if they want to reach out and have a chat with you in more detail about CRM Systems?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get in contact with me, you can go to the company website. The company website is sales@WestTech.ie. Or if you wanted, you can actually email me directly at kenneth.scally@WestTech.ie.
Brilliant stuff. And of course, you're also on LinkedIn and all the other social media platforms as well. So
yeah,
we have
all of them.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So the name of the website, as I said, guys, is WestTech.ie. And as I said, if you want to find out more information, and there's no better person to chat to than Kenneth himself, and I'm sure he'll be able to help you out. Kenneth, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you here today on the podcast, and we wish you continued success in the future. And I'm sure we will talk again very, very soon on this podcast. So thanks again for joining us on the Social Media Talks podcast. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan, and I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for joining us today on the Social Media Talks podcast, and hopefully you learned some great information and also insights from our guests today. And if you'd like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, you can log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/podcasts. And all of our podcasts are available on all the usual podcast providers, including Stitcher Radio, Google Play, Mixcloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And we would be delighted if you would leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, as we're always thrilled to receive your feedback on any of the programs. You can also subscribe to the podcast there so you never miss an episode as well. And if you'd like the show notes for this episode or for any of the previous episodes, please log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/show notes. And if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, please do get in contact with us. All you have to do is email us at smtalks@compassmedia.ie. And if you'd like to find out more about the services that Compass Media provide, from social media marketing and training to podcast services, please visit our website for more details. You can also reach out and connect with me across all of the social networks, including Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and I will personally answer every one of your requests. That's about all for today. I've been Alan Hennessy from Compass Media for the Social Media Talks podcast, and we look forward to talking to you next week. And as I always say, be social. So until next week at the same time, bye-bye.
Social Media Talks podcast is a production from compassmedia.ie.